Friends, my name is Kim. Welcome back to Healing Cottage Homestead. Welcome to my kitchen and welcome to CROCTOBER. So today we're going to make another slow cooker recipe. And as I was pulling out my large slow cooker, I realized that it somehow got all mangled and the base is no longer connected to the metal part in certain places. So I'm hoping that it still works properly. But I'm going to check and see. I know Walmart is having some deals, and I'm going to check and see if I can get another big slow cooker. I normally use my small slow cooker for recipes for the channel, but I do take my big slow cooker whenever I'm going somewhere with a recipe, so I will need to replace that. So today we're going to make garlic chicken and broccoli. And so the first thing we're going to do is chop up this broccoli. How are you doing with the weather? I know that we have another hurricane in Florida, and I haven't seen today how that is going. But you all in Florida can't catch a break. And then we're going to, it calls for 6 cloves of garlic. And this is separate from the chicken. We're not going to put this in directly. We're going to put it in our sauce that we're going to create. But while I'm cutting vegetables, I thought I would go ahead and get this started. And I have such a struggle with using the garlic press that I'm going to, since it calls for 6 cloves, I am going to use my chopper. Notice I have a turkey defrosting behind me, and I just got it, so I'm getting ready to put it in cold water. My groceries were just delivered. I needed chicken and broccoli for this recipe, and so as soon as I finish prepping this dish, I'm going to put it in cold water, and then I'm going to can it for Sunday's video. And then I'll take the carcass and roast that a little bit, and then boil it and make turkey broth with it. I wanted to get to 300 jars canned this season. I'm at 293, and I looked at what do I use a lot of, and I use a lot of chicken and turkey. So that will be perfect to add to my pantry. Peeling garlic is probably one of my least favorite cooking things. It's why I use cheater garlic quite a bit. But I have this garlic left over from my friend's farm and want to use that, and it's so delicious, and it's much better than the cheater garlic. So it's worth it. I just feel like there has to be an easier way to peel garlic and chop it or mince it than what I'm doing. So if you have any suggestions, feel free to put those in the comments. And thank you to my friend who said not to be afraid of cooking scallops, because that's one of the easiest seafoods to cook. And you were right. I don't know why. I guess because they're just a fancier seafood. I mean, I can cook cod, I cook salmon very, very often. But scallops just intimidated me, and shrimp intimidates me as well. But that's partially because of the cleaning process that has to go into getting your shrimp ready. And I'm afraid I wouldn't eat shrimp if I were responsible for cleaning. So I did buy some shrimp that's already cleaned. So we'll see how that goes. So I'll use that when I'm making my sauce. And now we want to cube up our chicken. And you can use chicken breast or you can use chicken thighs. I'm using chicken breast because I don't like chicken thighs. And we're just going to cut it into 1-inch cubes. I know North Carolina was hit very heavily. I'm not sure if any of you are from that area as well, but let me know in the comments how you're doing and how we might be able to lift you up. Okay, so now we're going to make our sauce for this. Oh, and we need a can of water chestnuts. And I already have those, and mine are sliced and drained. So now we're going to make the sauce, which includes the 6 cloves of garlic minced. Is it feeling like fall where you are? Do you get fall? This week has felt like fall here. It's been sweatshirt weather. Today is going to be a high of 77, so not quite sweatshirt weather. But it's going to be time to go out and clean up my garden and prepare that for spring. I did that last year, and it really helped me be ready. The other thing that I'm going to do, I kind of need to wait for the leaves to fall, but I'm going to put leaf mulch on top of all of my raised beds after I pull out the plants and amend the soil. So we'll see how that works this year. Okay, now we need a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. It does call for low sodium, but I am out of low sodium, so we're going to use our regular soy sauce. And I just won't add the salt that the recipe calls for. And 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. And 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Oops, that looks like that's about all I have in here. I have to refill that jar. 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. Salt, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So if you're using the low sodium soy sauce, you can add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And then it calls for 3 cups of chicken broth, but I'm not going to use quite that much because I only used 1.5 pieces of chicken. Whoop. Making a big old mess. But truthfully, I wouldn't be Kim, right, if I didn't make a big mess. Get this all mixed up. It smells really good. So when this is done, it's going to cook for 2.5 to 3 hours on high. And then when this is done, we're going to drain out our sauce, and we're going to put that in a saucepan, bring it to a boil, and add a cornstarch slurry to it to thicken the sauce. So I'm going to put this on high, and then we will come back in just a couple of hours. Okay, friends, it's been a little over 2 hours, and it is very done. The broccoli is that shade of green that it turns when it's completely cooked. If I were to do this over again, I think I would add some onions to it. And I will tell you that I am going to link this recipe in the description box, because I've had several people comment on why don't I include the recipe. And if I find the recipe online, I can include it. But if I'm getting it from a book, I can tell you the book that it came from, and I can describe the steps in the video and the ingredients, but I can't copy that because that recipe has a copyright because it's been published. So that's why you don't see me always including a recipe. I am working on a cookbook of my version of many of the dishes that I've made here on the channel. I do enough modification to recipes that that would work, and they become my own. They do call for actually thickening this on a stove pan, bringing it to a boil, and you know me, I'm not a fan of dirtying more dishes than are necessary. So I'm going to try and thicken it this way. If it doesn't work, we'll put it on the stove. Okay, so this is not thickening in the pot. So I'm going to go ahead and pour it into a saucepan. And it does say to strain it. So we're going to do that. I know, look at me following directions. We'll see if we can bring this up to a higher temperature and get it up to a boil and see if it will thicken. Okay, this immediately thickened on the stove. So I'm going to put some on top of our chicken and broccoli. It smells delicious. As you can see, it looks delicious. So let's give this a taste. That's wonderful. It tastes just like going to the Chinese restaurant. The sauce is sweet but I can taste the soy sauce, heavy on the garlic, because remember we had 6 cloves of garlic, so very heavy on the garlic. If you don't like garlic, reduce that amount, but it's absolutely delicious. I cooked 2 hours on high, probably about 2 hours and 10 minutes on high, and it is perfectly done. The broccoli is a little bit al dente, which is how I like it, even though it looks like it's the overcooked color. It is perfectly cooked in my opinion. And you do need to do that sauce on the stove, which didn't take long at all. I'm just a big fan of doing everything in one pot. So in this case, it didn't work for me, so I went ahead and did it on the stove and it worked perfectly. And it just took a couple of minutes. So to give you the nutrition information, in 1 1/4 cups, there are 241 calories, 6 grams of fat, only 63 milligrams of cholesterol, 19 grams of carbohydrate, but 3 grams of fiber. So you're looking at 16 grams of net carbs and 26 grams of protein. And the diabetic exchanges are 3 lean meats, 1 vegetable, a half a starch, and a half a fat. So you could eat this with a 1/4 cup of rice. I would not eat a half a cup. You could eat a 1/4 to a 1/3 of a cup of rice and still be under that 45, or yeah, you'd be under that 45, because I think you're looking at 26 and 16, so you'd be at about 42. So you could have a little bit of rice with this, and it's absolutely delicious. And like I said, I'm going to put the recipe and link in the description box below. This is a taste of home recipe, and I will link that in that description box. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up or a like, depending on if you're watching this on TikTok or YouTube. I would really appreciate it if you would become a subscriber to my YouTube channel, Healing Cottage Homestead. It really helps to increase the people who get to see me. I think I'm up to 323 subscribers now. And on Sunday, I will celebrate 1 year of YouTube videos, and I think I'll have 116 videos on Sunday. So I'm really looking forward to that celebration. And I really, really appreciate your support on my channel, on the comments that you share, the feedback that you give. It all really matters to me. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, as I mentioned. I post diabetic-friendly recipes every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and oftentimes they're slow cooker, especially in Croctober, but sometimes they're gluten-free, Instant Pot. I'm going to start working with the air fryer more, and sometimes I even post a vegetarian recipe. I try to be as low carb as possible, always with under the 45 grams of carbs to be a diabetic-friendly recipe. And so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to post those in the comments. I really enjoyed our time together today, friends, and I look forward to cooking with you again soon. Take care.